There's a big race on Tuesday that we've spent very little time talking about, and that's the Lexington mayoral race. Now, part of the reason why is it's actually been pretty boring. There are 4 really qualified candidates, and you know what? Not a lot has happened. Plus, Lexington's been rolling along pretty smoothly, so there aren't a lot of controversial issues. But there may be no race for the people of Lexington that will affect their life more than the mayoral race. So we decided to give a little insight into the candidates running and why you might want to support them as you cast your ballot on Tuesday. Now let's get started and see who is running. First is Kevin Stinnett. He's a longtime Lexington council member who also chairs the council's budget committee. Linda Gorton is a longtime city council member as well and the former vice mayor to current mayor Jim Gray. Ronnie Baston is the former Lexington police chief and public safety commissioner under Mayor Jim Gray. Teresa Isaac is a name you may be familiar with. She is the was the former mayor of Lexington and works to train mayors around the world for the U.S. State Department. And then there's Ike Lawrence, a Lexington real estate developer who's running for office for the first time. Now, all 5 candidates have spent money. You may see their signs throughout the city. But what they actually believe, there isn't a whole lot of difference between a lot of them. But let's look into it.
And so when I was mayor, I attended what are called the CompStat meetings, where you work with the police officers to see what the crime trends are, and you try to head them off before they get worse. We were able to be named the #1 safest city in America.
Well, first of all, we can't police our way out of it. We got to start it from a whole different perspective, and that's why I brought youth mentoring to City Hall last year. The other end of crime is jobs. You know, when you have a good job and shelter, you tend not to engage in those activities. So we have to come from another angle.
When I'm mayor, what I want to do is gather together a multidisciplinary group of people. Get everybody together and figure out a strategy to attack this on many fronts, not just public safety.
But certainly we have to be tough on violent crimes, and we have to hold people accountable that commit those. And you know, I want to increase our police force responsibly over the next 4 years. But we have to not only look at it from an enforcement standpoint, but we have to start getting beyond that and looking at some of the root causes of crime.
Parents need to be more involved in their young kids' lives, not have weapons. The parents need to emphasize that their children not join gangs and that they go out the door dressed up nicely and go to school and stay in school.
We currently have almost 0 options for our seniors in the middle class. You know, we're not talking the folks that can afford assisted living center at $4,000 a month or the subsidized housing. We're talking about those seniors who want an affordable place to retire in and leave their homes. Why is that important? Well, one, they're going to be 50% of our population here coming up. But secondly, we want to attract millennials here.
I was on the council when we established that affordable housing fund, and it's really important. It doesn't have enough money in it. You know, I recently talked with a builder who wasn't aware of the fund, so I think there's something we can do to get the word out to more builders.
Some of the infill development and rising prices due to a lack of available housing can cause issues like gentrification, unintended consequences that can happen that are very serious in our community. So as we grow, I want to make sure that we have everyone at the table, everyone has a voice, so that we grow in the best way possible.
What I think is fair is whatever the amount is we allot to the purchase of development right program, an equal amount should be allotted to the affordable housing program. I think everyone in our community can agree that we don't want to price out first-time home buyers. We have many young people in our community who are buying their very first home, and we don't want them to have to go to another city.
As you know, I'm a landlord, and I've seen a lot of empties occur because of Section 8 and this new affordable housing initiative that has taken landlords' dollars, tax dollars, and given out vouchers and taken away the landlord's clients. I don't think we have a rising housing cost in general. I think one sector of Lexington, 1/12 of the pie, say O2 or Chevy Chase, might have rising housing costs, but in general you wouldn't be able to tell that.
The boundary has kept Lexington who it is and kept our identity by maintaining our our signature with our horse farms and agricultural land. I think that's important. We're known around the world for the piece of geography that we're blessed to have. And once you lay asphalt or concrete, you can't get that back.
Our ag industry outside the boundary is about $2.3 billion economic impact every year. So there are not many communities in the whole country who have this. This is one of the things that helps us weather recessions better, is because we have diverse economy here. Lots of places don't have farmland. So I support keeping the boundary while we fill in inside the boundary with infill and redevelopment, and right now there are several thousand acres still to develop.
I'm for maintaining the current boundary, but we also have to be aware of our surroundings, and our biggest asset that we have to offer people is our interstate when we're attracting jobs and economic development. I've been chair of economic development on council the last 8 years, and I've been on the front line row of getting these businesses to want to come here, but we have to shift that focus to getting our current businesses to stay here and get them to grow as well.
I have been in favor of doing more development at interstate interchanges, and I've been on the record with saying that, and so my position would be the same on that. But when we merged our government, we made a promise to the rural part of our community that we would protect them, that we would promote agribusiness, that we would listen to their concerns, and so we are carrying out that promise we made when we merged.
I most certainly support staying the course, keeping it like it is. We have supposedly 2,500 acres still undeveloped that does have a zoning tag.
For the most part, these candidates agree on a lot. They're all against charter schools. They generally think the city of Lexington is doing well and needs to continue on its current course, and they support Mayor Gray. Really, the difference is one for most of these of style and focus. Stinnett spends a lot of time on economic development. Baston spends a lot of time on trying to make Lexington safer. Teresa Isaacs wants to change some of the policies in the city to back when she was mayor, and Linda Gorton has talked a lot about extending throughout the community and green spaces. Really, all of these candidates are not that far apart, and it shows where Lexington is as a city that they aren't that far apart. But the differences in their policy are so small that I actually think this race is going to be very close on Tuesday. I talked to all the candidates and their campaign managers, and they all have no idea what's going to happen. Tuesday's vote will be big. 2 will move on to the general election. And to be honest, we're not sure which 2 it is.